Part 21 of 25. Good Little Boys Go to Heaven. From the book Good Little Boys Go to Heaven by Stuckey. Fall 1962, East Texas. He took a drink from the bottle and passed it to me. I took it and took a swallow and held the bottle. He reached over, took the bottle back, and took another drink. I was surprised to see a white man drink after a Negro. He passed the bottle back. We passed it back and forth between us until it was empty. He got up, went to his car, and got another bottle. He opened it, took a swallow, attempted to pass it to me. I had had enough. I smiled and shook my head. He smiled back and put the top back on the bottle. You have a room for me here? He asked. Yeah. He knew we had room, 18 empty motel rooms. He owned the motel. My Emily ran them, mostly for customers she'd get, salesmen passing through town or her husband spending some time away from home. I walked him to one of the rooms. The door was locked. I kicked it in. I was angrier than I thought. He chose to just let it go. He laughed when the door gave way. Emily woke me about 6 o'clock the next morning. Joy, we got work to do. Go ahead, I'm on my way. It was about 10 before I got up. You missed breakfast, was how Emily greeted me when I found her in the kitchen. I just nodded and asked, Is there coffee? I sat at the table and she brought me a cup. Where's your daddy? I see his car still out front. I opened one of the doors for him, I answered. He should be up any time now. She looked at me and then walked away. I sat there until my father walked in. It's morning. I wasn't sure what he meant, but I answered with a head. Morning always comes whether it's wanted or not. How'd you greet this morning? I smiled and said, I'm all right. A little drunk still, maybe, but I'm all right. I have to go. I'll see you later, son. It had been quite a while since I heard him call me son. It felt strange. I he had come to call me Pups shortly after he gave me a small dog, and I named the dog after myself. That was a joke between my mama and him that I never got. They could have called us both Joey. The little dog never responded when you called his name anyway. Most of the rest of the day was just a blur. I went back to bed around supper time. I felt a lot better the next day. I'm not used to drinking much, and I think the drinking got the best of me. Mostly the drinking I had done had been of a sociable kind. A drink to loosen the tongue, let down the guard a bit. It was a different story with him. I got the impression right off that drinking was serious business for him. He drank about two-thirds of the bottle we shared and was all right. All the while we drank, we talked. Actually, he did most of the talking with me doing most of the listening. It took me back to the years when I was a little boy and he used to tell me stories. The more we sat talking, the less I felt I knew him. I didn't have any intention of getting to know him either. Before I even got there, I had strong desire to leave East County, Texas. I'd been gone for 6 years, but I hadn't forgot why I had left and what I was trying to leave behind. While I was gone, scarcely a day passed that I didn't regret having left Emily behind. It was right around supper time when he showed. Steak and potatoes are what we had. It was a meal he paid for. All of the money Em had can't come from him. You might think I might have been ashamed to have had him supporting my girl, something I should have been doing. I wasn't, though. I left town so fast I never thought about what would happen to her when I left her behind. Em was strong, I knew. I knew she'd be all right. Probably better off than if I'd taken her to Houston with me. Scarcely a word was passed as we ate. I looked over at Emily several times to find her staring at my father. He never looked up, from what I could tell. He told Emily how good he thought the meal was when he was done. Yep, that's the best meal I've had in quite some time. After we finished, we resumed our positions on the front of the rental office. What did you do in Houston? He asked. Not much. I tried to make a way by playing my guitar. Never could get used to the city. Made most of my living cleaning up in some of the joints where I couldn't play it. and also bust a few tables. More than a few. A lot of unfinished business I left there. Thinking about making my way back there if I can convince Emily to come with me. I couldn't stop thinking about her. Didn't try. Didn't want to try. There was a whole nother type of woman there. There was a whole nother type of Negro there. He got up, went to his car, and retrieved a bottle. He held it up for me to see and then smiled. I wasn't anxious to start another night like we had had a couple of nights before. He opened the bottle, took the first swig, then passed it to me. I took my first swig from it. When do you plan on leaving? When do you plan on going back? He asked. Not sure. As soon as I can talk Emily into going, I guess. Going to try your music again? Yeah, maybe. I'll try to find a proper job. Not really sure. Probably depend a lot on what Emily would go for. It's great we can sit and talk like this, he said. I nodded my head, then took another drink from the bottle. We hadn't had much to say to each other for some time. Most of the time when I was growing up, he was just my mama's friend who dropped by whenever he got an itch that he needed her to scratch. I can remember from my earliest years his coming by. He never lived there, though. I never knew where he lived. Never really cared either. When I was still quite young, it became clear that we would never be a family together like I knew other families to be. You and your mama, neither one had ever had much to say to me, it always seemed. The more I came by, the less we said between us. Things were always difficult for us. I wish I knew why. It always felt that we cared for each other. But still, I don't know, since we never had much to say. I shrugged my shoulders, unsure how to respond to that. What was there to say? We couldn't have talked about his other life, his wife and little blonde-haired girl they had, his other family that my mama and I were forced to pretend didn't exist. We never talked about them. Difficult now to imagine how we could not have talked about them. So much of what we were and weren't because of them. Why my mama would have chosen to live her life as this man's other woman when she could have married some colored man and lived a better life will never make sense to me. I knew it was time to change the subject. My eyes started watering a little, thinking about my mama's wasted life. You ever live anywhere other than here? I asked. No, always lived here, and I'm probably gonna die here as well. I was always afraid to think about leaving. There was always so much here I couldn't seem to control. So much for me to leave. No matter where I go, you still can't get away from yourself, your memories, your past, your history. I never wondered what it was like. You never wondered what it was like anywhere else? There's a lot to see out there. I continued, sensing that maybe we were talking along different lines. I'd always thought the way to escape yourself was by looking to the world outside yourself. He seemed to be lost in his own private world. I know, but I have a lot left to see here, he answered. I had no idea what he was talking about. From what I could tell, a person could see everything in this county in a day or so. The town dominated the county. It was probably just like every other small town in Texas. Farms spread across the county. Farms that provided food, shelter, and some income for farm people. I was never a farm person. He gave us everything we needed, my mama and me. We never wanted for anything. There was always food on the table, and the shack we lived in was always in good repair. Emily and Jewel, Emily's little sister, came out front. I looked at Jewel. She was smiling at me. I smiled back and offered her the bottle. When she reached for it, I pulled it back and laughed. Emily just looked at me, not saying anything or showing anything on her face. I offered her the bottle. She shook her head and sat down on the ground beside me. I gave the bottle back to him. He emptied it, then made a drinking motion with his empty hand. I nodded my head. He went to his car and got another bottle. I wasn't sure what the relationship between Emily and Mr. Joseph was, but it didn't seem as close as I might have guessed. She seemed to be very distant from the man who had a lot for her and her little sister. Maybe there was some problem between them that I wasn't aware of. Still, she was the one who insisted he be told that I was back. Still, it was Emily who went to him to tell him that I was back. Emily grabbed my arm and said, "Let's go to bed." I shook my head. "Go on, I'll be there in a bit," I said. "You always the quietest little boy I ever seen," he said, restarting our talk. "A good little fellow. Look at you now. It's hard to believe you were ever too little." I smiled and nodded, didn't offer a response. I was thinking, you're the little fellow now. I was more than a head taller than him and probably had a good 30 to 40 pounds on it. Mama used to tell me good little boys go to heaven. I always tried to be a good little boy for her. He laughed and said, "Yeah, my good little boy." For some reason, his saying that bothered me. I refused my next turn with the bottle. I didn't like being called his good little boy. I didn't like being called his anything. I guess he could tell the change in my mood. He looked at me with a puzzled look on his face, not saying a word. I knew he was trying. I knew he was doing the best he could. Knowing really didn't help with how I felt about him in my life. "How long has Emily been working here?" I asked. "She started here shortly after you left. She came to my house crying about your leave and talking about the plan she had for the two of you, about how she loved you, but she guessed you didn't really love her. I never even knew she existed. I took her home to a little shack she and the little one were sharing. I've never seen such a run-down place. This motel has been in my family for quite some time. I never even knew they existed. I came by after I found out about them, and the first thing that entered my head was that this might be a better place for Emily and the little one to live. I told Emily I was planning to reopen them after fixing them up a bit. I offered her a job of cleaning up the rooms and looking after the place for me. She took me up on the offer. After we opened them, I just left it to her to run them. I didn't have any interest in running a motel. She likes it here, I think. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell with Em. You don't get much business here, it seems. Maybe that's why she likes it here. The more we talked, the more strained it felt to me. Maybe I can blame the alcohol. Alcohol always seems more than willing to take the blame. We almost finished the second bottle. I don't drink as much as him, but I drink more than my limit. I never told your mama, but I'm telling you now, I wish things could have been different. I never could change things. I never could affect things. But I never had anything but respect for her. I loved her. I lived it with her, and I couldn't change any of it. I can't change any of it now. It might have meant something to her to have known how you felt. She might have known, but it means nothing to her now. But okay, I didn't understand any of it then, and I don't understand any of it now. But okay, not understanding it, not understanding any of it, not wanting to understand any of it is where I'm stuck. Good night, Mr. Joseph.